guess what? I got a Discord server. Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to the Ash of Creation. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Ash of Creation discussion round, the longest running podcast for Ashes of Creation. And today we're gonna have a slow one, a small one.
Slow burn.
All right. So, what do you guys want to talk about first?
The big bad topics, the live stream. You want to kick it off with that?
I mean, is a live stream a bad topic?
No, I'm saying I said big bad topic. I'm saying like I mean is like that's
the big topic.
The one that people probably want to hear about the most. The other ones are like every other topic we have on the list is something that is interesting to talk about. It might be interesting to talk about. We might even have more to talk about, but it's not news. It's not the hot topic.
All right. What do you want to talk about?
Live stream's a hot topic. Let's see. They start off with some generalized talking. They talk about how they give an explanation of like why there was a delay. I pretty much was in the letter. Like we ran into some trouble with February during the February testing. We decided we needed to push it back. Talk about Steven's ducks.
The ducks.
Did they talk about the ducks?
They talk about the ducks briefly, like how Steven bought it. Like had a house built. I had like a little house built for them, and they made a bed out of hay and straw and stuff like that, and threw it in there. And then how the
I
ducks
didn't know that. I just saw
warm.
the videos of ducks beating on his back door.
Yeah, he's got some domesticated ducks at his house now. Why am I looking at that? We have then it went to the video, the video of them in game talking about design stuff. We got to look at the foxes in game, like the 3D render of the foxes. The finally in game we see.
How did you guys like the foxes?
They're not done, so I don't think they have any like the fire animations or anything. Yeah, all the effects and stuff.
I want to wait for the effects. The tails look. I don't know. The way they had to do the tails looks kind of. I don't know. I'm being overly critical. I think they look good.
They look good. They look good.
I mean, they look good. The only thing that I had, because I was about to say the same thing when it comes to the tails, they look a little bit too stiff.
They look too stiff. The tails are moving around just fine. Like I don't get the too stiff thing. They have decent animations to the foxes.
Maybe it's just my eye. Maybe getting old.
For me, I think like the weirdness of it, because of how they're trying to do. Dang it. Because they're trying to do the tails with fur, but they can't just like fully make it out of like a fur texture. They're doing they have like the tails kind of built out under the fur, and from what I can see, it looks like that mesh under the tails isn't it is kind of just like a, I don't know, generic. I don't know. Where normally in games that have fur tails like that, the mesh is more designed to incorporate the fur. Those tails seem to be just kind of like a ball, or just like a long round object that they're putting the fur texture on, and it looks a little off. We'll see what it looks like when they add the effects on.
I like the eyes.
Just something I'm observing.
I like the eyes.
I might be wrong too. I just noticed that there's something off about the tails for me, which it looks great. Love it. Just saying, if I was to critique it.
Did you guys buy that one?
I did.
I did. I don't know.
I think it's one of the ones I skipped.
No, it's a fucking flaming fox. It's the weeb inside me would not allow me not to buy it. It's a two-tailed fire fox.
I feel
the
like
weeb in me would not let me not buy it.
I feel like that just screams for an exorcism. The weeb inside of me.
I don't know. I
want to talk about something.
But no, foxes look great. Animations are amazing.
And then eventually, what? Go ahead. What do you want to talk about?
There was something in the live stream that I'm looking for at the moment where they showed.
They got to the new area eventually.
No, not the area. The area I don't really care about new areas. They look great. They always look great. So I want to talk about that rendered creature.
Oh, the unique looking rendered creature that's
The
not
one
like,
we have not seen concept art of.
yeah.
And that is now 3D rendered. The one with the long neck.
Yeah.
It's good to finally see unique creatures that are finally, because like my thing always with races, and every time someone asks me what race you're gonna pick is for AOC, I'm always like, I'm gonna go Tolnar because it's the most unique race they have. All the other ones are your stereotypical fantasy races, and all the animals we've seen thus far, like so far, are either stereotypical fantasy races, the ones you automatically see here in the real world, or a mixture of animals that you see here in the real world. This one is a unique one. This one is unique. This one's it's a we made this.
Now the reason
But
the reason I bring this up is because according to what they said, this is like a larger creature, like a world mini boss that just walks around, the continent. So I find that idea to be pretty cool because in most other MMORPGs that I played, you had creatures like that just follow a certain path. So I wonder, because I'm getting kind of a Monster Hunter kind of feeling. So I wonder if they will have certain ways to be taken down, or is it just, tank and spank?
That'd be cool. Like you have to set traps and stuff like that
Yeah,
to take it
yeah.
down.
Isn't hunting one of the professions?
there's a bounty hunter.
Not bounty
Falcon
hunter, like animal hunting, like pew pew.
I don't remember it being one.
I thought I
It might be
recalled
scanning.
something. Yeah, probably. It was probably that.
But no, that'd be cool if like it can't be attacked normally, and you have to do something to actually put it into to turn it into a normal boss, like
Weakened
I don't know how
state.
to. Like it's like in a weakened state, and you can actually then like do the normal tank and spank, or maybe you have to continue doing other mechanics. But it's not something that you can just run up with a raid and kill. You have to like set some trap or hit it with something.
Yeah. Anyways, that was like the most interesting part for me from the live stream. Anything else from the live stream you guys want to like take a look at?
You don't want to talk about the new area.
Well, we can't. We don't say I don't want to talk about it. I just say for me personally, the more interesting thing wasn't the new area. It was
the 3D render. Yeah, the
3D render of the thing that we have not
unique
seen before.
creature.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because we
I
have
mean-
seen concept art of corruption, and we've seen
Yeah, the new corrupted biome. The corrupted
Yeah,
biome.
so I always knew the corruption would be kind of dark reddish, color wise. So
I guess it sounded like they were implying that is like a texture they put over like a normal tree, or like an effect they put on a tree, that like you can have a normal tree and then it gets corrupted, and then like the crystals form and it gets to that texture. So if that is what they were trying to show off, because it's some of the things he said made it sound like they were trying to show off something that was a little bit more than a tree with some crystals.
We see the corrupted biome here. I don't. If they were trying to show off how corruption spreads and how it can spread, I don't see that here. And I would have to see it working to be able to like make a comment on that. Because like right now,
Okay.
because we don't see it, that's kind of like we would love to do this. Or it's very theory crafty, or like we would love to do this, but until it's actually in the game, I'm not gonna. I don't know.
what I'm wondering
Yeah,
is
that makes sense.
What I'm wondering, how often do areas like that pop up, and how often do you have to like counter those areas?
So yeah, that's what I was going to lead to. It's like, sorry, go on.
my you know that when we talked about this before, my whole like apocalypse thing, they
Yeah.
actually have talked about an event like that happening to where like the harbingers, which are the meteors that bring in the ancients, like they talk about like how the like regular events will happen where the harbingers will land and start spreading corruption, and the ancients will start like these big apocalyptic events will start happening in the world. And I think like corruption spreading and like this biome starts popping up is kind of what they're trying to go for. Like what Stackerson was talking about, like how this begins to pop up is the harbingers fall and that event starts popping up. The apocalyptic style event popping
Yeah, but
up.
how often do you think this will happen? Because it would be a cool, like, constant PvE asset to have. Like, always, you have to worry about other players, you have to worry about raiding, whatever, but you also have to worry about corruption spreading up somewhere in your zone of influence, and you have to stop it before it gets too much for you to handle.
I don't know. Without them saying like a time frame and without like seeing what a time for like what a decent time frame is, because you need to be level. Like I don't want this to be like an easy thing. You need to be level. Like you'd probably, I would imagine world events would trigger it. So like a metropolis forms or a metropolis falls, and then that triggers the event, or a raid gets completed. Then that trigger like so many raids get completed. Something in the world happens, and that triggers the apocalypse event. Same thing. They've talked about other kinds of these kinds of events as well. Like a world boss will spawn and it'll be like a giant ice dragon that spreads eternal winter. And so instead of the meteor that'll spread corruption, this ice dragon spreads
Ice.
ice. Yeah.
But yeah, it turns the land into like a frozen tundra.
So what we're pretty much talking about is events like you have in Guild Wars 2, but instead of them always being at the same spot, they are at different locations.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they're a little bit more meaningful than that. Like,
Yeah, me too.
because Guild Wars 2, it's just like
Farm.
it's like a daily farm thing.
Yeah.
Guild Wars 2 wanted it to be meaningful. Because it's like because of the time frame it was released in and the game that it is, I don't like I get the meaning they wanted behind it, but at the same time, like I don't know if it was limited. I don't know if it was limited by the type of game it was, or the time that it came out in, or like the technology just wasn't there. I don't know.
As soon as you had people figuring out the timers, how long it takes for that thing to respawn.
Yeah.
And yet the websites popping up with the timers, like these events became so fucking meaningless. People only did them for farm.
And it didn't like really affect anything in the world either. Because it like Guild Wars 2 is a theme park. Things are static in the world. Like things are static in the world. Things change. Like they have events that change things on that map. Like what we're talking about now is like these dynamic events. Like things will get captured, and you have to do this, and then if you don't do that, but like it doesn't fully affect. Like it doesn't really truthfully affect anything. Whereas AOC is not like a theme park. Like the map changes. They're wanting it to be where these big events change things. So like you don't stop this, the node could delevel. You could lose your spot as a metropolis, or like these rivers will freeze, and so your trade routes get cut off. Shit will happen in the world. I don't think anyone, like a lot of people say, like a lot of people want and compare this to and will theorize that AOC is just like the better version of what Guild Wars 2 wanted to be. And like people loved what Guild Wars 2 wanted to be. A lot of people love what Guild Wars 2's hybrid combat is, and people just theorize that the hybrid combat's gonna be the same. The idea for those dynamic events is there. Claiming territory with the world versus world. You can make a lot of comparisons to what Guild Wars 2, like a lot of the ideas that Guild Wars 2 has and wanted to do, and made it sound like they were trying to do, into what AOC is attempting to do now.
Yeah.
The key word is still attempt, because even though like a system like that in its nature is a really cool idea, like not gonna lie, probably one of the better ideas that ever come out of the MMORPG genre. Just the execution of it has never been done to where it feels organic, if that makes sense.
That's what I was saying with seeing the if they're trying to show corruption spreading, I have to see that work. I have to see that working. Like,
yeah, because
it's
as soon as you make it so it's locked to certain locations, people are gonna farm it. As soon as people can predict rotations, cycles, locations, it's going on farm status.
Well, that's the thing. I hope it's not so common where it is something that you just farm. It's like something, and it's more something you have to deal with. Because I mean, that's the thing. Most games have to just deal with. The only incentive to do something is the reward. Hopefully, the punishment in Ashes can also be a factor in why you would farm it or do it.
How do you guys feel about the whole bear thing?
The 3,000, 4,000 bears, like the 1,000 bears on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a thing.
I mean, it's an improvement.
It's an improvement. Like, the game runs. I'm not like, I don't know. Like,
what I want to see is them spawning 5,000 players or 1,000 players and all casting Fireball. That's what I'm more interested in than NPCs.
The fact that the servers are reading that and the fact that you can see them and they're rendered in is good. When he dies to them randomly, when you don't see them near him, to be expected. I mean,
well, it looks like they were probably doing those attacks while they're chasing him, and then there was a delay on him actually receiving the damage.
Yeah,
like there's almost a different priority where they're prioritized the movement updates over those damage ticks, and so you saw like the animations of him taking the hits a little later on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's good to see. It's good to see it. It's good. Like, it's definitely an improvement. It's showing where we are. Like, it's showing where it's kind of showing where we are in development, and the progress we've made in terms of getting that many things on screen and stuff like that. I get what you're saying. Getting 1,000 players on screen, like
maybe not 1,000, but like
getting the number of players that they want on screen during a castle siege or a node siege. Getting a large number of people on screen casting large, graphical effects type spells,
like 200 versus 200. So like having 400 people and them all using skills. That will be, as soon as we get that first test, that will be interesting. Because at that point, you're also gonna have, input from 400 different clients being sent to the server. Server has to do all the calculations, display it back to the clients. That should be an interesting day.
Moving on. There were a few 3D renders of some other stuff. I don't know if you want to talk about them. They were just like 3D renders of cosmetics.
You're the cosmetic guy. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it.
If we want to talk about some of the screenshots of different areas in the world.
I like how the ice armor turned out.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now. Hold on.
I think I ended up picking up that whole set, and I didn't really. It's another thing where I didn't really care too much for the concept art. It was like it was kind of cool, but I was like, I don't know.
I didn't pick that one up.
And then I see the render. I'm like, oh, that is.
I'm really happy to see the eyeball because that was in one of the cosmetic sets that I bought. One of the earlier cosmetic sets.
Yeah, it's like the first Vex set.
Yeah,
that was released, right?
The one
Everyone
with
kind of got excited.
Yeah. Where is that one? Where's the ice armor? Don't know where the ice armor is, boys. I'm sorry. Is there anything else regarding the live stream that you guys want to talk about?
Not unless there were any
Okay.
questions. Not anything that part of the Q&A that sparked anyone's interest.
I mean, as live streams go, this one was a pretty basic one. It was a good one. New stuff, new 3D renders, which is always nice to see. Update on the studio, which is nice. Any major head turners in the live stream? No, but that doesn't mean it's a bad live stream. So
No,
I don't know. I think the monster was almost a head turner. It was just like it was something that we didn't expect. It's really cool, and then the fact they kind of brought up the fact that this thing will be roaming around the world. That's kind of
okay.
I think it has more
give you that.
fun
impact.
reconfirmation.
I think it has more impact to people that follow, like people like us that follow the game that haven't seen that before and seen their unusual monsters. To everyone else, it's probably like, oh, this is just monster development. This is a monster they're developing. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. It was kind of nice getting that reconfirmation with the legendary equipment that they plan on trying to making legendary items less about the like big stats and more about having like some cool effect or some unique effect that you're not going to get from another item. But I'm pretty sure we've heard that in the past. It's just fun to hear it again.
Yeah. We saw docks and stuff like that, but until we see like actual like naval stuff happening, I don't necessarily think it's something worthy to talk about.
Yeah, I feel bad because like that actually looks really good. It just like, yeah, you guys just build out the world, but it's like I know someone freaking worked their ass off making that stuff.
Yeah, someone worked their ass off making that stuff. It looks good. It's just till we see how it's working. It just looks good. I like the game looks good. Like that's something you could say about like AOC as a whole. The game looks good. The game sounds good. It's just till we see everything together and working, it's like
proof of concept.
I was just saying
Yeah.
from the perspective like someone made something that looks good in its own
Yeah.
vacuum. I feel like that's all that needs to be said.
I know,
It's
and
like-
I took it a step further in saying that like you could say that about the entire game.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
as soon as
I guess I just felt like it was still worthy of a call out.
as soon
Yeah.
as we hit Alpha 1 in a couple months, hopefully, that will be the proving point for a lot of things when it comes to Ashes.
I think he said in like there was a question about some of the things that like what people were asking like what they should be would be expecting.
I know,
inside.
like the crafting and everything, but the bare bones structure, node development and all that stuff that should be implemented at that stage.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people are gonna ask, okay, so when are you testing? I don't know, node development. When are you testing the augmentative, the augment system, stuff like that. I don't think the augment system is gonna be in Alpha 1, but you need to be able to go into Alpha 1 and understand. Yes, this is an alpha.
We understand this is where we are.
Exactly, but you also have to understand that you cannot expect people to go into a map and just run around without there being, like core MMORPG functions that work. And from what they said with the dragons, with the raids and everything, the semi-raid sizes and whatever that gonna means, that all needs to be there. So I hope that the pushback from the Alpha 1 delay is giving them the time to make sure that those systems are functioning properly. They don't have to be perfect, but just function to a degree where people can, test those systems. Because if you just need people to run around in Alpha 1, you wouldn't have to delay. You can just open up the map and let people on the map like they're doing right now. So, yeah, here's to hoping. Anything else from the live stream you guys want to talk about?
Not
Do we want to talk about the death animation from the live stream?
Oh yeah,
Should I say how bad it was? No, I'm kidding. It was. I was just trying to make a comment because they said it was like a early pass and it wasn't done, and they just kind of threw it on there because they thought it looked neat. Yeah.
I made a TikTok out of it.
Did you?
I made a Thanos TikTok.
I just thought it was interesting because it was more because of the lore reason they told us about how like you go to Ashes and then you get reborn at the.
That didn't make any sense to me. So now every time somebody dies, you're gonna turn into Ashes. So everybody lore-wise and everybody in Vera, everybody that comes back through Vera has to wait. You know, like this is first
A
up.
lot
This
of games, a lot of fantasy games try to put a lore reason behind the respawn mechanic.
which games?
Like
WoW.
Guild Wars, WoW,
Guild
they all
Wars.
they all put
Games
lore
pretty much
reasons.
try to do it.
Put lore
World of
reasons
Warcraft,
behind-
the World of Warcraft, you respawning didn't have any lore behind it for like at least a decade. It's like, okay, you die, you're dead,
But
you
they
go to your
did
corpse, you come
eventually
back.
add a. They did eventually.
Yeah,
add
I mean,
a
I wouldn't
lore
call
reason.
Shadowlands like an explanation for, you know.
I guess I felt like even if there wasn't explained, there kind of was a lore in the fact that you turn into a ghost and you could run back to your body.
I like that you bring this up. I don't like I'm a lore person, but I don't know if there needs to be lore behind every game mechanic, like everything that's even game mechanics. Like I don't know if there needs to be lore behind why my character respawns. And maybe lore behind the areas that you respawn in, like lore behind, like if you're respawning at a temple, put lore behind the temple. If you're respawning in a graveyard, put lore behind that graveyard, or like a preach or something like that. Go ahead and put lore behind that, like those things. But like I don't know if there needs to be lore.
No,
like,
here's my thing with the whole Phoenix animation. Remember when we seen that one live stream where they fought on the beach, the 2 versus 2,
mm-hmm.
and then they died, and you saw Steven in like when somebody died, you saw the gravestone. That
Mm-hmm.
reminded me of like, okay, there's gonna be something like the finishers in Guild Wars 2. So now them saying that now when somebody dies, they're gonna do the whole burning to ashes animation. Now I'm thinking lore-wise, so that means everybody that comes to the portal, everybody that was in Sanctus at some point had an interaction with the Phoenix, so has something based in the blood
That's
of the
what
Phoenix.
he said is like you get a piece of the
God of creation when you come back.
yeah.
Yeah, so that lore-wise is interesting. Is it needed?
It's one of those things I kind of agree with Oni where it's like I feel like it's a little I don't know. My words aren't coming. Explaining death, it's almost like a little iffy if you do it. I think theirs is fine. I just worry about the over explanation of death, and especially when you then consider like, okay, so why doesn't anything else follow these rules?
Some games even like the reason they'll explain like why certain players respawn into like NPCs don't is that they'll divide what players are and what NPCs are. Like these are like you're the heroes and
Here's
like
the-
this is what you are,
here's
and
the-
then they'll divide.
Here's the problem.
I guess we're going in. Go ahead.
Here's the problem that I have with the animation. The animation looks dope. I'm not gonna lie about that. The problem that I have is, what if I kill somebody with frost damage, with a frost attack,
And
with
they
a-
burn into ashes.
and then they burn into ashes? It's
It's a Phoenix thing. It's not like
yeah, I
not
know it's a
basically
Phoenix
attack.
thing, but now everybody in Vera is immortal.
That's explaining like that's another reason why like that's kind of why I'm iffy on explaining respawn mechanics, because like if you explain respawn mechanics, that explains like why these people die and come back. Like there are lore bits where like someone will like there are lore bits already that explain like, oh, I'm channeling the god of creation's divine power and I'm like that's explaining, that's pretty good lore reason behind a cleric's resurrection. I'm fine with that. Putting a lore reason behind like after I die I just come back, I don't know about that. Like I don't know about like explaining a game mechanic, a video game mechanic of respawn. Explaining a lore reason behind a cleric power of resurrection, I'm fine with that. Explaining a game mechanic of dying and respawning just like because games have to have that. If you don't, then you just die forever. I don't know. That's like it's not even just an AOC thing. It's something that all games do, to where like all games nowadays do, is where like they put lore behind why my character respawns. Even BioShock, a single player
okay,
game.
no, let me put it this way. Explaining why you respawn in a lore bit is fine. Adding it to the dying animation?
See, I like that. I like that it's part of the dying animation. To me, that makes it a little bit better.
Yeah, if you're gonna have a lore behind the death, like behind death, why not put it behind the death animations? I don't know. Like
I
it's
think what they've done works. It's just like it's one of those things where I agree with you, Oni, where it's usually I don't really like lore behind the death.
yeah.
But
I
is
just
it
don't think they need-
needed? Is it needed?
The lore behind that's what I'm saying. It's not necessary. Like you can just have it be a game mechanic. Yeah, like things can just be game mechanics. They don't have to have lore behind them. Like
It's a nice like
for APOC, there's actually lore behind the glowing chest. Like there's lore behind the chest that give you loot.
in a battle. Yeah,
Instead-
I never understood that. It's a battle royale. It's like, okay, it's a battle royale. There's boxes, there's loot, there's killing.
Yeah, and there was lore behind why those chests are there in the world. I don't like it's a BR. I don't think there need like and that's a core BR kind of mechanic is getting loot. I don't know if there needs to be lore behind why there are loot chests around the world. The game mechanics. I'm a huge lore guy. I love lore, and I try to study the lore beyond. Like I'll read every bit of lore in the game. I just don't think there needs to be lore for
No, because
game mechanics can just be game
because
mechanics.
now I like I said, it's a nice little gimmick. You know, the lore is nice, whatever. The problem that I have now, like I said, it's not a problem. It's more like, you know, just a point of view. You know, when you die to poison, whatever, you know, most MMORPGs you have like a little.
Would you rather
effect.
disintegrate?
Yeah, disintegrate
burn
or freeze, you know, and then break apart if you die to frost damage. Now you always turn into ashes, you know, which might be, I don't know, easier
They said
to
it's a
render.
placeholder animation. They said it's a placeholder
Yeah,
animation.
okay, so no, now the question that I have is pretty much, okay, now that we have the lore behind the respawning and everything, now I want to know where's this lore, when is this taking place? Is this taking place like when you come back to Vera, while you go to the portal? Why the Phoenix? Is the Phoenix a god? Is everybody just
The
like
Phoenix
Phoenix
is
is
a
the
god.
god.
The Phoenix is a god.
okay? So everybody is just saying the god, the Phoenix god, is now, you know, hugging everybody, giving them powers.
Well,
like,
it's a
why is it?
goddess.
Well, why aren't the other gods giving you gifts? You know, stuff like that. It's just like it's questions, and I don't like when.
Well, she's the god
bit,
of life and rebirth.
Yeah,
yes,
she's the
so
god of
what?
creation.
So
That's her shtick.
it's her
She's
shtick.
not the god of war.
So why is only one god helping us out when we come back to Vera? Why
Well,
the
you
other
can
Well,
gods?
you can worship
so-
more than one, so
you can
they'll
worship the
probably
gods.
then
I
get
know,
the other
no,
gods.
I know, but what are the other gifts? You know, like why is only that one god giving us the gift of rebirth? You know, it's a nice little lore piece. I appreciate it, really do. I like the animation, but now I just have way more questions, and I don't like when one bit of information just provides thousands of new questions. I just don't like that.
Well, that's usually when it's fun, though, isn't it?
So, you know, yeah, Ratuo, we know there's a lot of gods. We are well aware of that. So, yeah, okay. Anything else you guys want to talk about, or Staggerson? That was your topic.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to bring up people's thoughts on like the lore behind deaths.
I mean, it's a nice
I
little.
think the animation looks good. I like the explanation. In this case, it's just like as we said generally.
And my
don't
thing,
like
it's not that I hate the animation. It's not that I hate the explanation behind it. I just don't like. I'm in the camp of. It's good that you have it, but it's not necessary. Like, you don't have to explain
It's like
every game mechanic.
It's like the cherry on top of an ice cream of a sundae.
For me, to me it's kind of a slippery slope, I guess. That's why I'm like a little questionable about it. Where it's like, okay, why doesn't anyone else have it? These other people came through the portal. Do they have it too?
What do the Tulnar have it?
And then there has to be the explanation why the Tulnar have it. Have the Tulnar always had it?
So yeah, there needs to be a lot of lore to explain this.
I was having a discussion with people not too long ago about like we can talk about that's a whole other topic. We can talk about it when we get to another topic. But that's a topic in and of itself. I don't know if you want to get into that. That's
what else? What other topics do we have for today?
Let's see. We have, if you want to talk about the guild gatherings, number 2, guild halls, build calculators, parkour, AOC races and how they interact with each other. We can talk about what I was going to talk about with the AOC races thing. But that's more of a like racial bonuses and lore behind like stuff.
I mean, I think we should talk about guild gathering as soon as we got another guild leader. Maybe we can get DA or some other guild leader on.
They're gonna
here.
have more and more of the guild gathering topics. It's like, but like this is the final thing for guild halls, and
What do
they're probably gonna.
you got a topic here? Possible controversial forms of pay to win in AOC.
I had stuff for that. I don't 100% remember. If I talk about it now, it's just going to be more of the cosmetics equaling pay to win. I think there was other stuff I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that because cosmetics don't equal pay to win.
We've talked about it before, and you said that they do.
Cosmetics equal pay to win. When the fuck did I ever say cosmetics equal pay to win? You show me that podcast.
I will show you the podcast.
Show me the podcast because I dead sure never said cosmetics are pay to win. If there are cosmetics like the ghillie suit in Black Desert Online, and if they have stats,
I said I gave you. I'll show you the podcast.
Yeah, show me the podcast because I'm pretty sure you're high.
No, I'll show you the podcast. All right, so you don't want to do guild gatherings, build calculator, possible parkour, and AOC races. Which one do you want to do?
Let's talk about parkour.
You want to talk about parkour?
Parkour.
Okay. So,
parkour.
Are you for or against parkour in games? In AOC and inside MMOs? And like,
depends on the degree. If it's like Assassin's Creed and everybody can do it, no, thank you. If it's like a special skill, rogue can acquire.
All right, so you want like the utility skill of how they kind of had the utility skill for.
I want it to make sense. I don't want there to be a paladin or a tank in full plate armor, fucking climbing Mount Everest without any problems.
So you know about the wall climbing kind of parkour. I'm talking about like Guild Wars 2 style jumping puzzles parkour.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm cool for. I like jumping puzzles. I know everybody hates them. I fucking love jumping puzzles.
They're one of my favorite things about Guild Wars 2.
No, I can see that. Like Guild Wars 2 jumping puzzles, yeah.
I was having a discussion about. I was having a discussion earlier today with somebody, one of my guild mates, and they took it kind of similar to how you just took it, to where like they took it more of the utility behind parkour, and
I know you should
combat skills before, but the difference between combat skills and utility skills.
I mean, if you say jumping puzzles, everybody instantly knows what you mean, right?
Okay,
if you mean parkour, you mean like climbing up walls that normal people cannot come up, doing like flippy flops across, gaps, stuff like that. That's what people.
I was talking like specifically when I put this topic on, it was specifically jumping puzzles.
Yeah, no, I'm up totally. I don't see anything negative about jumping puzzles, except there are people raging when they cannot beat them.
Yes, people don't like that they can't do.
I don't like if they are tied to farming events. Like in Guild Wars 2, you had the guild missions, and every guild had to go through a jumping puzzle over and over and over again each week.
They had chests at the end of some of the jumping puzzles that would reset every day, and they did give pretty good loot. It was worth doing every day.
But I don't want to do a jumping puzzle every day. I like jumping puzzles being behind achievements, being behind events. Make it something that you don't have to do every day. Because a jumping puzzle every day, no.
A lot of them were like at the very beginning when Guild Wars 2 when Guild Wars 2 launched, they were tied behind interesting points in the world, and they were part of map completion.
Yeah, that I dig, because you have to do it once and then you're done.
Yeah. I'm all for parkour and jumping puzzles. Some people aren't, like you said, they get frustrated. They don't like that people like the designers take time, or like it will structure things around said jumping puzzle. I think they're interesting ways of, like, they give they give people like parkour if it's more organic, like something like the map's not designed to do that. Like if it's not specifically, oh, I designed a jumping puzzle in this map, but like but instead they're just randomly in town and they start jumping on barrels and jump on a fence, and then they're able to get themselves on top of a building. People sometimes prefer that and don't like actual like set up jumping puzzles. They prefer the more organic ones.
I mean, the organic ones, I get that it makes sense, but also can be abused quite a lot. So I rather have organic parkour or whatever you want to call it now, be enabled by an ability, by a class, right? Make it part of its utility, but have still seasonal or weekly events where you have maybe a jumping puzzle that you have to beat, or have like a point of interest that you have to get to, but you have to do a jumping puzzle first.
Well, it's not like the organic ones are
but don't make like the Halloween Tower from Guild Wars 2 a daily thing.
Okay, yeah, all right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that way the RP players, you got some, a rogue, you want to get into, I don't know, a node or whatever, you want to do a certain mission or quest where you have to have somebody to climb across a wall instead of going through the wall, you take a rogue with you, and that RP players, gives it a little more like, choice feeling when it comes to picking your class, and it helps.
What are the rewards? What they did, like the special event? Like these are like the Halloween event or the Super Adventure Box.
Yeah, exactly.
Events like that, but instead of giving you gold and stuff, or like in game, like giving it stuff, like it's still optional to do, but you get rewarded for doing it. But it's cosmetics. Well, how do you feel about like being cosmetic rewards?
If it's an event, then it's fine. If it's an event thing and you do an event and you get cosmetics, I'm completely fine. And it's not gonna pay to win, because I never freaking said that cosmetics are pay to win. Never said that. will deny that I ever said that. Goes against my core belief. No, but yeah, if it's seasonal, as soon as it becomes a hassle, then no. You guys keep talking. I have to run to the door real quick.
Okay. Stackerson, what's your thought process on the jumping puzzles and parkour?
I like them being incorporated. Well, I'm pretty neutral. When most jumping puzzles, I guess I don't really have a preference for the jumping puzzles of Guild Wars, where they're made to be jumping puzzles. But I like when there are just parts of the world that require jumping to get through, or are like at least requires some level of requires more effort on the movement side of things to get through. Doesn't necessarily need to be like a full-blown jumping puzzle, but I have nothing against them. It's just when they're made to be jumping puzzles, it kind of, I don't know. I don't care too much. Unless it I prefer when it just makes sense in the world. Like WoW, when you have to climb up to get into BRD, when you have to jump onto that that balcony, stuff like that, where it's like the game, it makes sense for the world to be designed in a way where you have to do the jump. It's just the jump isn't there just so to make you jump. Or like I love the chains in WoW. I guess I'll mention that. It's not really a jumping puzzle, but like having to like go down those chains and try not to fall off, which is easy, but it's still, if some are made to be a little more challenging than that.
But that isn't the intended way of moving through that map. That's just a way of like, oh, we're gonna go through these chains, and like that's something people that wasn't the original intention in how the map was designed. That's just a way people decide. Like, that's what I was talking about with organic like jumping puzzles, or organic parkour, as like the developers didn't design to be the way to do things. People just like found out, oh, you can jump on this barrel, then you can jump on this fence, and then that's something like eventually you end up on top of the house, and that's more organic. They wasn't designed that way. People just like started, like they were bored and started jump, like they were in town and just like, oh, I'm talking to my friends I'm playing the game, and like I'm just talking to my friends on Discord, and like I'm not like good at multitasking, so I'm just gonna like randomly start jumping and then jumping and jumping and jumping, and eventually you get somewhere.
Yeah, I guess yeah, I prefer those kind of jumping puzzles. And I guess what I was trying to say with the other things, it was more just I prefer not necessarily like a hardcore jumping puzzle, but when the devs make it so the path isn't as easy, and there might be some jumping where it makes sense.
Mhm.
Um,
So he will actually put it in like not really parkour, like how you'll have floating terrain and stuff. You might have that like a Shadow Colossus type boss, but some people will put like where you have to jump over this wave of energy that's coming your way, or it knocks you down, or you get a burn effect or something like that. People will put that in boss mechanics where like you have to jump over something or
I
roll
like
dodge
those
roll out of the
things.
way.
So I
Like those
wasn't
kind of
considering that part of it. I like that kind of stuff where it's like, yeah, you have to jump to avoid something.
movements type stuff. But I guess it was also a kind of we were talking about with the utility stuff. All right, so parkour people generally are okay with it. Some people prefer.
Like
What?
I said earlier, sorry, like something happened to my neighbor, so I had to run to the door. When it comes to parkour or jumping puzzles, it's not really about if you like them or not. It is a nice little thing to have in your game. It's rather about the implementation, not about the difficulty or how hard it is, rather than how often you have to do it. Because jumping puzzles in general, you have to, if you fall down, you have to restart, and it can be really, really frustrating.
I think another other thing is like sometimes jumping puzzles are in the game because it's just like the map developer team having a little bit of fun. Like I know Bacon enjoys doing it. I think he snuck. I think I remember he snuck quite a few jumping puzzles in like the original Alpha Zero map and the original and when APOC first came out, before you could do like stupid fucking fly through the sky jumping, when it was just like regular
Yeah.
jump. There were jumping puzzles inside the original Apocalypse map as well.
I think I like those kind of things. Yeah.
So sometimes it's just like the developer having a little bit of fun.
I mean, when it comes to exploration, what I always liked in Guild Wars 2 is if I have to get to a certain point of view, or viewpoint, and I had to do a little jumping puzzle, that felt then me getting to that jumping puzzle made me reaching that thing a little bit more epic.
Yeah,
Instead of just running to a point, okay, I'm here, now I'm done.
I agree. I don't know if I would tie them behind like daily rewards, like how Guild Wars 2 does it sometimes. I would definitely probably mainly put it behind like map exploration.
Map exploration, and what I also thought,
maybe achievements.
Being able to climb over walls during sieges for certain classes.
They have that. That's more of a utility skill thing.
Yeah, so but
I think
that would still also go into like, jumping puzzles to a certain degree. I would at least think so.
I think having alternate way, like they've talked about like having like a sewer pipe that you crawl through, and that's how you get in, like you sneak into places, and like destructible walls, and like hidden back doors, stuff like that. They talked about having stuff like that, and like alternate ways of like sneaking into places for attacking sides. That's and like other things that defenders need to be aware of to like move their focus to. That's I'm okay with that kind of stuff.
That's also
I'd hope
something.
it'd be pretty puzzly or like.
Yes.
So one thing I don't like about sieges in a lot of games is those kind of things. If that becomes the meta of how you get into a castle, that'd be shitty. Where it's just like, oh, you do not defend the walls. You go to the sewer pipe because that's where they're going to come through.
Yeah. If it's too easy, or if it's something like, yeah, if it's too easy or everyone knows about it, then and even if it's hidden, as soon as someone finds out about it, then everyone's gonna like it's gonna be posted on the internet and everyone's gonna know about it, or it's gonna be posted on the Discord. As soon as because like if it's too easy, it becomes the meta, and it's no longer an enjoyable experience. It's just like, oh, we're doing it because the most optimal. If it's you go through this pipe, and there's a jumping puzzle that's difficult, or it's some kind of difficult puzzle or some kind of like that, like this, and you have to do it that way. That's fine. Like maybe you sneak a small group in, and those are the 5-man squad's gonna sneak behind and open up the gates for the main army.
It's like I said, it's more about the implementation than the actual mechanic.
Yeah.
You can have a really cool mechanic, no matter what it is. If the way it's implemented in your game world sucks, it's also gonna suck. Like you had for example, really well done jumping puzzles in Guild Wars 2.
Yes.
The Mesmer portal just screwed it complete over. You had people running through it within minutes.
Yeah, and people so the Mesmer portal thing, a lot of people have been on the forums and in the Discord asking for something like that in like mage teleport, to be able to teleport other people, and like a Mesmer portal from Guild Wars 2. People have been asking for something like that in AOC, and I'm like, no, why? Why?
Maybe there's gonna be a skill where a group of mages can open a portal. You know how a group of summoners can summon a siege golem, maybe a group of mages can open a portal. Maybe that's the thing. But as soon as you have something like the Mesmer portal, that is really useful. I'm not gonna lie, but if you have an implementation and you can use that in like zones where you have jumping puzzles, that becomes an issue. The best way for them to fix it is to have these guild events with the jumping puzzles open a second way that is way easier for the people that are not good at jumping puzzles as soon as a certain amount of people make it through the normal stage of the jumping puzzle. Let's say, for example, you have 20 people in your guild, 20 people sign up for the jumping puzzle. If 10 make it through, it opens a portal to the last room.
People would sell gold for people used to sell like Mesmer runs on jumping puzzles and stuff like that.
Oh, they still do. They still do.
Yeah.
It's silly.
Yeah.
The best way for stuff like that is like instance. I want to call it instance, even though it's not. And for it to work is to have all class effects, skills, whatever, not being able to be used within set region during the time of the jumping puzzle.
Yeah. All right. That's parkour. We can move on to another topic.
I don't think we have any more topics. I think today we're actually gonna have a really short one.
We can talk about the race thing that was still. If you want to talk about like a theory crafty one, then we can talk about the race thing I was going to talk about earlier, or you can talk about the build calculator topic.
What is the build calculator topic?
Let's talk about that one. That's gonna be the last one.
All right.
How do you get Ashes of Creation? Antoine or Neil, currently you cannot get Ashes of Creation. They are currently in a pre-alpha testing phase. Full release will be a couple years down the road, and Alpha 1 packs are no longer purchasable. You can buy into Alpha 2. That will happen sometime in the future. We cannot give you exact date. Sorry, brother. All right, what's the one you want to talk about?
Build calculators. All right, so it's pretty much like a topic of someone, like a third party is going to end up building a build calculator. It's something that's just something that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you think that and possibly before the game releases, if they go in the beta, people are going to study the class system and try to build a build calculator?
Yes, that will happen as soon as you have full builds for all the classes. So it's
gonna happen.
As soon as beta comes out, you're gonna have build calculators.
Do you think that AOC should do it on their own website, or do you think, or someone's gonna do it third party anyway? Do you think
World of Warcraft did?
Yeah, World of Warcraft, like a bunch of games do put out their own build calculators.
So when you say build calculator, like, I guess the tricky thing to me when it comes to build calculator is how much goes into your build. Because it's not just your class. It's like your gear also will probably play a huge role in your build.
Bare bones build calculator. Bare bones build calculator is like you have a skill tree. You give yourself you have the points that your skill points allow you, and then you build it out. ArcAge 1 would let you decide like, oh, these augments go here and these augments go here. So like you'd have that, probably have that for AOC as well. You decide like, this is my first class, this is my secondary class, bare bones. This is the way you do it. First class, secondary class, and then these are my skills. I put the points where they need to go. I'm down the tree, and then these are the augments I'm putting on them. That's my skill build calculator. If you wanted to do super in depth, which I don't think they would do, is then
They
you like
wouldn't do it because it would not look good.
how they would do it would, if it, like how you would see on ArcAge build calculator is you'd have the race you pick, the class, and then they would have a list of all the equipment. You would not do equipment on the AOC. I think you would only do
The thing, the thing why I think it will not happen is because they always say, you know, choices are important, risk and reward. What classes do you pick? What subclass do you pick? So now, if they would themselves do build calculator or skill calculator, they would kind of support the way of meta.
I remember what's
because at that point people can, you know, theory craft builds without having to waste any resources or time in game. And
just now,
based on what Steven said, I don't think it's what they want, and it would kind of look silly if they say they don't want, you know, metas, but then they have something like a build calculator on the website.
Well, I don't know. I use build calculator to make all sorts of things that aren't necessarily meta. I mean, if I want to do the meta build, I'm going to do the meta build. I'm not going to use the build calculator. But I don't know.
I mean, sooner or later, you're gonna have build calculators. As soon as people can literally just take screenshots or write down what each class has, what skills they have, you know, what does each weapon do, you're gonna have build calculators.
Depending on how long the Alpha 2 lasts, since it's a persistent alpha, you're gonna have a build. You're probably gonna have a build calculator for Alpha 2. As soon as beta swings along, you're probably gonna have if it doesn't have a level cap on it, or like limit players in some way, then and people can just level all the way up, or like look at their full spread of skills. You're gonna have a build calculator, at least a skill build calculator, day one of launch. You're gonna before day one of launch.
Depends. You need to have a player base, and you have to somebody in that player base that wants to build one.
I want to build one. That'd be a decent way to get money. I don't know. I guess I don't think it's that big a deal for meta. For me, I've always just used them to like experiment and have fun. Like think of fun builds that look enjoyable to play. I just feel like there's pieces missing from the build calculator that'll actually make it
like
useful. Like just like the effect gear will have on your build.
I mean, you're still gonna have
could be a big part of just like, especially on the meta side of things. It's like, okay, you figured out this meta combo of augments and stuff, but if the gear doesn't play right with it, then
yeah, I mean, but you have that in every MMORPG. I mean, in World of Warcraft for the longest time, you needed like soft caps for, you know, your haste to have at least, I don't know, 30%, you know, stuff like that. Those things were never really shown in most build calculators.
No, like I was saying, a bare bones build calculator is I plan out my skills, like what my skill tree is going to look like. That's a bare bones, the basic you'll see in almost every game build calculator. More advanced ones that will let you decide like what the meta is, or like more experiment with theory crafting and stuff. More the third party ones are the ones that'll show like what gear stats are and all the augments, and let you put buffs and all the nitty gritty, like tattoo, like the tattoo system. If Guild Wars 2 end up having a tattoo system, you could put the tattoo system in the build calculator, probably like that. I'm talking if AOC should do a skill calculator. We'll call it a skill calculator.
What's the difference between a skill? Like, you mean like your skill tree?
Yeah, you can
A
plan out your skill tree.
digital copy of any class's skill tree that you can just play around with without wasting skill points in game.
Yeah, that is a skill calculator.
That will definitely happen. Official
That's
wise,
100%. That's officially going to happen unofficially. I have no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt. I'm saying, should AOC do that? Should AOC have that on the website?
I think they should, or like if they have the time to make it, it'd be nice. I guess I'm of the opinion that it isn't that big a deal meta-wise, and for people who like to just think up builds, it almost is a. I would almost say, nah, that's not a good claim to make, but yeah, I think it's just fun for people to make builds. If people are going to read only the meta builds, then they're not using the skill calculator.
honestly,
and then I did.
Honestly, at this point, yes, it would be handy to have. It would support people testing builds before they implement the builds in game. So that would maybe help meta research. On the other hand, it would also play a little bit against, what Intrepid is trying to do. Because if you have somebody that has a really in-depth skill calculator, build calculator, whatever you want to call it now, that also shows percentages, crit percentages, any increase in case, certain skills or anything in your skill tree, impacts certain stats within your character. If they have something in depth, and also one way you can implement, gear, like, different types of gear that you find in the game, which I think further down the road, when you have complete loot tables, will be a thing. If you have stuff like that then supports the idea of having a meta build and helps the research for it. So I don't think Intrepid will have something like that.
No, they're not going to have a full in-depth put your armor in the thing. I'm just talking should Intrepid have a skill calculator, not what armor am I wearing and what tattoos am I wearing, what stats have all been allocated. Like, I'm just talking planning out. I'm gonna go this. I want to know what my skill tree is going to be if I have this class, and what augments I can apply to those skills if I put the secondary one. I already know third party wise, people are going to blow that out of the water and do what you're talking about, the meta build calculator of what armor I'm doing. Intrepid can't and won't do that. I don't think that they won't do that, but I do think they could put out on the website a skill calculator before the game launches, because they're already talking about, and this is one thing that sparked my memory about like what that talk about the possible controversial to win. They're already talking about putting out the character creations, the character creator before the
Release.
Before release, and people are saying that might be a form of pay to win, because they're talking about only giving it to people that have an account with the game, instead of making it just like, oh, download.
You can have an account for the game by just signing up.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not fucking pay to win.
People. There's an argument. I don't know if it's having an account or being already having like a package or something, like already being a
I mean, I don't see how. Okay, if we consider the fucking pressing random create input name create character as a time safe,
character creator as in I go in, create what my character is going to look like, I can save that file, and when the game launches I import the file, and I already have my character already like what I want him to look like day one, like first minute.
So they consider that a little bit of time as pay to win.
Yeah, you consider that a little bit of time pay to win. People, all right, so that's what I'm saying. That's a controversial point of.
I don't want to say that it's controversial. I don't want to say that it's fucking stupid.
Another controversial one is the 2-day head start,
where nothing in the fucking world works. Nodes don't get leveled up. You cannot level past a certain level, I think. People need to do their fucking research.
Yeah. All right. So that those are the two that I remember.
Mean, I feel like that's crushed by the fact that you can't you can choose a server that isn't fresh start.
Exactly.
You can
You
choose
see,
to
I
serve
would say Head Start is pay to win if it's on the same fucking server. If you have Head Start servers
people
and
that would
normal
argue
servers,
if
then it's your
you're-
fucking choice.
if you're one of those guilds that rush to become like world first, not server first, world first on completing a raid or getting dungeons
Then
done,
going on a Head Start is not gonna fucking help you anyways. Because everything is
you can
fucking
level
It'll help
locked.
you a little bit. I
you
mean,
Or-
you can level up a little bit on a Head Start.
Yeah.
It's just you won't be able to level up the nodes.
Exactly. So
you won't be able to get higher than like 10, I think.
I think the max level on a Head Start is 10, if I'm not correct, but I'm pretty sure someone is gonna correct it.
I mean,
you're
that's
also
just
gonna have a
the
little bit of the world explored. You're probably gonna know where like you.
The world will be explored in alpha and beta.
The world will explore like in alpha beta. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm just saying like these are the arguments that you see when the controversy of character creation being pay to win and the Head Start being pay to win. Those are the two controversial points.
Okay. You see, if we argue this stuff, then I'm gonna say me having money to pay for internet to watch the live streams for the past 4 years, then I would say that is also pay to win. Just
know if that's
because
comparable.
it's on the same level of fucking stupid as saying having a cosmetic file before the game launches.
I mean, you could ask someone to give you
Those
that
10
file, or you can just press the random.
Exactly. Those 10 minutes.
I've seen people make the argument of
That isn't even a fucking argument. That is just
having alpha access. Having alpha and beta access is a form of pay to win because you're gonna learn the game before.
Yes, I will. I currently am enjoying pay to win in spot testing on the Alpha 1 island that is nothing representing the actual map. I'm playing an unfinished thing.
But as the game gets further and
But
further
also,
developed,
when you get into that logic, then don't you also kind of get into the logic of, well, it's pay to win when you pay $15 for a subscription. I mean, this is kind of extreme because of the price difference, but I think you're approaching that logic where, it's pay to win because WoW is pay to win because you have to buy a box to play the game. You have to pay money to play the game.
Yeah, but everybody's in the same boat. Everybody had to pay that money.
There's pay to play and pay to win.
Yeah.
So
does
Okay,
Alpha 1 access isn't that not a pay to play?
It's pay to test. It's pay to fucking
or
test.
pay to test, whatever you want to label it. But is it not similar to pay to play?
Let me put it this way. This is because I hate these fucking conversations about what is pay to win and what is not, because it gets to a level where I really fucking hope that someday this planet gets hit by a meteor because we hit a level of stupidity that even goes beyond me. Anything that has any impact on any in-game mechanic that gives you a slight advantage, even if it's fucking tiny, for PvE or PvP, that is pay to win. Having a cosmetic file, not pay to win. Being able to choose
files where you have that little bit extra time.
Or those 10 minutes. Literally, if those 10 minutes...
People spend hours on character creation.
Yeah, I know, but if those 10 minutes...
Yeah, but his definition of pay to win, it's about in-game mechanics.
It's in-game.
People not being able to drop money to get XP boosts so they level faster, or... Because, you get into this tricky situation when you start to say information.
Get weight where you can carry more, where I have more bag slots.
Exactly, that is pay to win.
Or is having a nice computer pay to win,
I'm pretty
too,
sure,
because it's less laggy.
And I'm pretty
having better internet, is that pay to win?
And I'm pretty fucking sure that most hardcore competitive... I'm pretty sure most competitive guilds, including yours, they will not go on Head Start servers. They will wait for all the top guilds to say, we go on one server, and that's where everybody will go. And I'm pretty sure, from my point of view, that will not be a Head Start server. They're gonna make sure that everybody starts off as everybody else. Head Start servers are gonna be...
that have have a lot of people that are like 200 plus people that have the access to the Head Start. I don't know if they wouldn't go Head Start.
They will probably start on a Head Start server, but
Because
you,
I don't know. I think we'll probably start Head Start.
Yeah, but you have a lot of shit. You have a lot of guilds, a lot of progress guilds, right? They don't have like the numbers or the access that some of our current Ashes guilds have, right? They're gonna say, yeah, we are progress guild, but we're not gonna go on Head Start server. We're gonna go on that server, and it's gonna be the #1 PvP server.
We will see.
So what do you have?
It's one of those things where
for
it's
NA,
also like,
for NA, you got Imperium, Nexus, you guys, who else? A bunch of other guys, right? If you got, and I'm pretty sure all the members of all the guilds together, you don't all have Head Start access, right? So
Not
if you,
all members,
we
no.
don't all.
So
but,
if
like enough of our guild has Head Start access where we
Yeah,
can
of your
establish
guild.
a beachhead somewhere.
I know, but of your guild, but if you say, if all the guild leaders say, so guys, we're gonna go on this server, this is gonna be the fairest way for us to start the #1 competitive server, right? I'm pretty sure no guild leader is gonna go like, oh yeah, we're gonna go on that because most of us have Head Start server. You're instantly gonna get called the Dodger Guild. You're dodging. So it would, from my point of view, it would make more sense for everybody that is in a dedicated progress and competitive guild, right, to be on a non-Head Start server. That way, everybody starts off fair and square at the same time, same level, no advantage whatsoever.
But that you're saying no, like, but if you're part of that progression group that wants to be the world first people, then you're gonna want every advantage that you can possibly get.
It's just, if you think that leveling up to level 10, which is done in a couple hours, and then not being able to level up your node gives you a super advantage.
A couple of hours, then you have however many resources you've been able to gather up. You have that couple hours of Head Start. Like, that's 2-day Head Start.
Okay, let me explain something to you. This is how this most of the time works when it comes to raiding, right? Raids are not open as soon as the server starts, as soon as the game launches. Raids are not open, right? Raid content gets unlocked at a certain point. And if you think that 2 days of Head Start, where everything is fucking locked, is gonna give you such a fucking advantage to be a server first, a world first, compared to some other people, then you should stop playing.
Well, I guess I would want to play on the Head Start just because I want to start playing the game.
Yes, say I agree with that.
The game 2 days earlier.
But I'm not calling Head Start pay to win. No, let's not call it fucking Head Start. Head Start servers. I just
realized something about Head Start. Will Head Start have banks because we can't develop?
No,
guilds?
as far as I know.
Hold on. So on the map, you see the 2 starter nodes. I imagine those 2 starter nodes will be the tutorial area, and they'll have the basic stuff. The two you have the portals that you spawn in, and then you have the 2 branching off ones that you look at the map, you have the 2 branch off nodes that we've already know are supposed to be representative of each of the 2 races.
But you don't have any of the infrastructure.
No, so that's for the nodes you can develop. These are tutorial nodes.
I know, you have the tutorial, you have the basic things. You got something where you can level up to level whatever, right? You can repair your good, and that's all you can. Again, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty.
But if you can bank your stuff and repair and
no, you can't.
I just think it's funny if you couldn't bank because a lot of us might be going deeper into the wilderness.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
If we can't bank, it's just going to be a giant game of tag of us killing each other, taking each other's shit, and then getting killed by someone else.
That's what I assume because you can.
That just sounds fun.
You're coming into Vera, right? And none of the infrastructure is there. So why is there a bank that you can all of a sudden use?
So the way I'm thinking of it, and the way I think it's gonna happen, the way I'm thinking it's gonna happen. I'm not saying this is how it's gonna happen, but because you have these 2 starter nodes, I'm imagining these are tutorial nodes. Like, you go there, they give you tutorial quests to level 10. Teach you how to play the game. Blah blah blah. It's probably once you get level 10, the final quest probably gives you your first horse. Probably something like that. And you probably have some shops there set up, or
but not a bank.
Maybe a bank, maybe a storage.
Okay, I don't know any MMORPG that I played in the starting area, the tutorial area, whatever you want to call it, did not have a bank. You first got access to a bank as soon as you got to the the first major city. And because on the headset servers, you cannot
But-
level up nodes, you cannot have a major city. You cannot expect there to be a fucking bank as soon as you come
So-
through the portal.
What level of node are we expecting a bank to first pop up?
Isn't it like 3?
And how long does it
Town?
take?
Three.
Town?
How long does it take? How long is the estimated time to build up a
Oh,
tier
God.
3 node?
I'm not Jalon. I don't have everything memorized. Let me go look it up. Yeah,
Oh, I assumed Oni had the answer for us.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. Wait, let me check real quick. No, I don't think, like, honestly, just the argument that head start servers are fucking pay to win is okay. If you think that is pay to win, then
Tier
literally
3, few days. The village stage is supposed to be like time frame to advance a few days. So you're talking about a few days without having any way of depositing any goods?
yes, that's the reason for the head start servers is to spread the people, not have everybody
Yeah,
log in at once.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the tutorial. I'm not even talking about head start anymore. I'm talking about the tutorial areas.
Yeah,
Tutorial area, you don't think there's gonna be a bank. You don't think there's gonna be a bank.
it's
You
gonna be
think-
tents.
you
It's
think-
not gonna be. It's not gonna be. It's just like we see in the video. It's just gonna be a bunch of tents. You come to the portal for the first time, like everybody else, and not all of a sudden somebody's like, bang, there you go,
Well,
done.
I don't think there's a big deal of there being a bank around the starter area.
No,
because
there is,
most people-
there is, because if
Why?
you say, there is a bank and then head start is pay to win, you can fucking farm for 2 days, and okay, 2 days of straight 48-hour farming, that can give you an advantage. But I'm pretty sure that none of the fucking infrastructure will be working. All you will be able to do is go to wherever fucking node you want to go, explore, level up to level 10, and then wait for 48 fucking hours till everybody else gets
Well,
into
you
the
can
game.
farm, and then you can kill other people farming.
Yeah,
and then you can take
exactly.
their stuff, and they can kill you and take
Yeah.
your stuff.
If the tutorial zone, if the tutorial towns have any form, like how BCG is saying, if the tutorial areas have any form of infrastructure whatsoever, if they have shops, if they have banks, then the head start becomes pay to win.
But
You can't-
honestly,
you can't have 'em.
yeah, but then yes, then to a certain degree it will be pay to win. Will it be so much pay to win that it will impact whoever gets server first? Fuck no. Fuck no, sorry. But if you, by the time they unlock or open up raid content, if you still are 2 days behind when it comes to your farming, your materials or whatever, then literally don't even bother going for fucking raid first. I'm sorry, but just saying that a head start server where I'm pretty sure the infrastructure, the levels, and the nodes are locked is pay to win. While the only reason we have head start servers is to spread out the logins, so the people that are bitching about login queues don't have anything to bitch about. So that's just stupid. Sorry that I'm getting a little bit aggressive now, but I just.
I mean, I think it's silly. I mean,
yes, silly is
do
another word for
technically
stupid.
I think like on a very technical level, they are correct. Do I think it's one of those things where people, when it comes to pay to win, people have very like, and this is with
Imaginative.
everything, where it's like a very like, if something meets their slight criteria, they don't take context or like the actual value gained into consideration. They're just like, it's pay to win, and they'll treat all pay to win the same.
Yeah, it's
So it's one of those things where they're basically equating that to like any boost or buying items on the auction house, and I think, yeah, I'm not sure the word I want to
Well,
use.
We have
well-
we even have our own standard. And the reason I'm only playing devil's advocate here, but we have our own standard of what play to win is either too. Like we have the
I don't know
anything
standard.
that
I got a definition, and I had the same
you got a
definition for
definition,
15 years now.
but these people also have their definition.
But their
And
definition can suck it.
the head start
Well,
classifies under pay to win for them.
kind of. Okay, and then because there also becomes a
You see,
weird
no.
gray area with it, because I kind of do agree with them that it is kind of pay to win. I don't think it's a big deal, but when you think about it, is really allowing people access into the game earlier, how much different is that than someone who has just played the game longer?
Okay, let me.
If you're trying to get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to get. I
So,
get what you're
it's
saying.
like they can't get in, and they can't get in because they didn't pay. But how much different is that than
It's
them
minimal.
coming to a
It's-
game new that they haven't been playing, and someone who's been playing and paying to play the game for a year now they have that person obviously has an advantage. Do we consider that in some way pay to win? I guess I don't know.
Here's what I'm gonna say. If we take if we take the competitive goal of having a server first raid kill, right, or server first world first.
I'm not talking on server first. Not server first. You can do on any of the server. You can do on. You can
World,
go to
world
non-pay to
first.
win
Let's
server.
go. Let's go. World first.
World first.
World first.
World
Right.
first.
Right. If we consider that as the main goal, then having a head start where you cannot level past level 10, where you cannot farm anything really, you cannot stack any items, you cannot bank anything, where you cannot advance your node. Yes, those head start servers might have a slightly, like, minimal advantage over people that don't go on head start servers. That said, depending on when they unlock raid content, right? Still minimal, because the way that I see it, the only advantage people have that aren't head start servers when it comes to world first is they already walk to their node. Those 15, 20, 30 minutes, that's the only advantage they have over people that are starting on non-head start servers. That's the only advantage, is the 30-minute walking time. If the infrastructure and everything else is not unlocked.
Okay, let's be real. There's a way to get around the bank issue.
There's of course there's way about.
But it just I just thought it was funny to think about the fact that like we might be playing tag with resources in fresh start.
I mean, you know, on the head start server you can make like 10 characters, and I guess, but the point that I want to make is, by the time, at least this is my experience, by the time that you by the time the raid content gets unlocked, if it gets unlocked, everybody should have been able to catch up to those head start servers.
That's my defense against this. It has been the entire time. When someone brings up that head start is like, oh, I'm gonna be behind you guys from level 10, is like the game already has decent catch up mechanics, in the fact that for you to progress as a player and not be killing trash mobs the entire time, you have to progress the node, and that progresses the world, and that makes like tougher enemies spawn in the world, so you can like more dungeons and content spawn as well, so you can do that content and level up. At the very beginning, the world's gonna be not developed. It's gonna be like you're gonna have trash mobs everywhere.
Okay, but also what I want to add is the whole situation of people going for world firsts, right, is not going to be a lot of people. It's going to be a handful of people that actually are qualified with the mindset, the player base, and the actual know-how to go for world first, right? So it doesn't really apply to the general public, because the general public probably never even touched the server first.
If you can make the argument.
No, I'm not done yet. So I would say yes, head start is pay to win if we were talking about head start on one server, but we're talking about normal servers and head start servers. Two types of servers. You are not being forced to go into a head start server after the head start is over. You can just start like everybody else on a normal server. So hence the argument that yes, the head start servers in the regards of world first raid kills might be slightly pay to win. That's it. There's no other argument. It's slightly, it's to a degree where, I don't know, having a good gaming mouse is also pay to win.
I
have spoken.
I think we're going around in circles.
Yes.
I agree. I was devil's advocate.
Is that normally my job?
No, I always play devil's advocate.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about?
Not unless you want to get into the race topic.
Nah, we can save that for next time. We're done for today.
Okay.
All right, everybody, thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back in 2 weeks.
That'll be the 11th.
The 11th. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and we catch you guys on the next one. Peace.